Imagine living in a society where working through the weekend could get you executed. No, this isn't some dystopian alternate history. This was ancient Israel. The Sabbath, or Shabbat in Hebrew, seems like a relaxing opportunity for family time and spiritual reflection. So why on earth did the Bible prescribe the death penalty for opting out? Well, what if I told you that this harsh rule wasn't about cruelty, it was about survival?
You could think about the Sabbath as an example of law binding a multipolar trap.
Modern scholars now recognize that the function of Shabbat was not just for recharging after a hard week. In fact, it may be one of the greatest social technologies ever invented, one so crucial to the continued existence of civilization that it might even be worth dying for. Here's the Mensch Sense take. Systems thinker Daniel Schmachtenberger regularly advises government officials and corporate executives on the possibilities of civilizational collapse. So if he says that the Sabbath literally has the potential to save our society, I tend to listen. So what's so valuable about Shabbat?
When I was much younger, I had some Jewish friends, and I didn't ridicule them, but I was kind of, haha, you guys have Sabbath today, I'm going to go to the arcade. But now as I'm older, everything you just said about the good life and spending time with family and reading and spending time in nature and not using the internet on a Saturday or whatever sounds freaking wise and makes sense and appealing to me.
Okay, sounds nice, but that doesn't exactly explain why non-compliance was punishable by death. Exodus 31 states, "You shall keep the Sabbath, for it is holy to you. One who profanes it shall be put to death." Your first impression might be something like this.
And so there's 27 or 29 ways in Leviticus that you can violate the Sabbath, and you will be killed if you violate it, which seems like just wackadoodle religious nonsense.
But this is where Schmachtenberger explains that Shabbat was actually trying to solve an existential problem that has plagued human society since the dawn of time. It's called the multipolar trap. Daniel Schmachtenberger loves the concept of the multipolar trap.
The multipolar trap. Multipolar trap. Multipolar trap.
What's a multipolar trap? Let's give a common example. Imagine you run a major cereal company. A sudden epiphany causes you to start being concerned with the nutrition of your product. You decide to lower all the sugar content in your cereals. Unfortunately, since brands like Frosted Flakes and Honey Nut Cheerios are the most popular cereals in America, your company's less tasty product starts tanking in sales. Instead of being able to offer healthy alternatives, you go bankrupt. When every company is engaging in behavior that is unhealthy for consumers, that makes it impossible for a single producer to ever try offering something healthier because it simply cannot compete. This is a multipolar trap. And it doesn't stop at sugary cereal. Think arms escalation, overfishing, and increasing addictiveness for social media platforms. It's a race to the bottom. Now apply this to work culture. If I work a 40-hour work week and you grind for 80 hours, you will have a huge competitive advantage over me in the marketplace. If you're willing to suspend all other interests for the sake of work, it will then force me and other competitors to do the same. Otherwise, we risk being driven out of the market altogether, even though it ruins everyone's lives.
If you don't have a Sabbath, some people will work 7 days a week. In the short term, before they burn out, they'll get ahead. They will get so much ahead because they'll be able to keep investing that differential advantage in rent-seeking behavior that anyone who doesn't will have no relevance to be able to guide their own lives.
And this, of course, is exactly what's happening today.
You need to work super hard. Instead of getting an apartment, we just rented a small office and we slept on the couch. The website was up during the day, and I was coding at night, 7 days a week, all the time.
You can imagine how quickly a society will degenerate with this type of behavior.
And now you have a world where no one spends any time with their kids, no one reflects on the religion, nobody enjoys their life, everything sucks for everyone because somebody did that thing in the name of progress because they moved ahead faster.
Do you see how frustrating this is? Those with the most destructive habits end up accumulating all the power and wealth, and all the balanced, idealistic people simply fade into irrelevance. So what do? How do you force everyone to not work that hard for the sake of everyone's well-being? You can't politely ask a Wall Street shark to please respect the sanctity of a Saturday. There's really only one option. Anyone who breaks the Sabbath gets the death penalty.
if you hold that law that extremely, everyone's like, all right, now what do I get to do that day? I get to reflect, rather than achieve goals, I reflect on what are good goals. So I get to spend time with my family, I get to spend time with nature, I get to read the scripture, I get to meditate. And I don't get to achieve goals. I get to experience the fullness of life outside of goal achieving, and I get to reflect on what goals are truly worthwhile, and in doing so bind the multipolar trap that I don't have to because everybody else is rushing ahead.
All of a sudden, what seemed like an archaic, barbaric law becomes the necessary solution to an otherwise impossible problem. Enforced Sabbath observance binds the multipolar trap. And yes, it still sounds pretty harsh, but when you realize that the soul of humanity is at stake, it kind of makes the trade-off a little bit more reasonable. At its core, Shabbat isn't just about not working. It's about declaring that who you are is not defined by what you produce. It's the one day when goals don't matter. Your inbox can wait. Your ladder can lean. Instead of chasing, you're choosing. Instead of achieving, you're being. And in a society obsessed with hustle, that's the most radical act of all. If you've never experienced a full 25-hour unplugged Shabbat, it can sound intimidating, even oppressive. But for those who have lived it, it's the exact opposite of a prison. It's freedom, and maybe, just maybe, it's the only thing that can save us from ourselves. And that makes mensch sense.